I have a question. Recently, I had to take my car into the shop because something was wrong with, I believe it was the radiator. And I had just bought in my car at the mid to the end of August. And when I was making this purchase, I was kind of in a desperate way because I really wanted to change my car in because my other car I had only had for a year was already dying on me 2 or 3 times that week. And I'm like, you know what? I can't deal with car issues. I really can't. And when I went in there, I told the salesperson what had been happening and what my issue is and why I can't have an unreliable car. It was like was it a brand new car? No, it wasn't a brand new car, but it was brand new for me. And I had had it a year and it was already having issues. And I'm like, this is just for the birds. Let me just trade it in and I'll get a different car. So when I am there and I do the test drive, I'm thinking, ooh, something seems a little off. I'm not too sure if I want to make this purchase. Granted, I'm there by myself making this purchase, thinking, okay, I can do this, right? I've heard all the horror stories about how they take advantage of women and stuff because women just don't really, some women don't really, well, me, hello. I always believe that people are going to be good to you until they're not. And so I give people that benefit of the doubt because in my mind, it's their karma, not mine. I'm doing my due diligence. I'm being transparent. I'm telling you what's going on and what I need. And it's on your end to make the right choice. That has nothing to do with me. It's not my business what you decide to do. So if you're going to try to pull the wool over my eyes, then that's you. We all have a part, right? So there I am, and I'm sharing my concerns about, the car and the reason why I'm turning it in and the reason why I need a different one and everything else. And he's like, oh, we'll go ahead and have our service people take a look at it. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, their service people are going to take a look at the car and they're going to probably tell me it's fine because they want to make the sale on the car. All right, well, again, we're all responsible for our choices, right? Myself included. So I am there and I'm thinking, I don't know. And they told me, I promise you, if anything is wrong with the car, we will take care of it for you. We will take care of you. And I'm like, if anything is wrong with the car, yes, if anything comes up with the car, anything is an issue, we will take care of it for you. Well, guess what? Made one car payment on, the way I was supposed to. And I was due to make my second car payment, and guess what happens? The radiator just... And there wasn't even any kind of warning on my panel about anything being awry. It was just because I had been driving the car and I knew what it felt like and I knew it just didn't feel right. So I drove it 1.5 miles to figure that out, and then I stopped and I went and got it towed to the shop because I have heard horror stories of, well, if you wouldn't have driven it like another mile, then you would have been fine. And so I know cars are a monster sometimes. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't making things worse after I figured out that there was something wrong. I mean, common sense. So I had it towed over there. Before I went, I called the place where I purchased it from, and they're like, oh. And I spoke to the service manager, and he told me, no, after 30 days, we don't work on your car because it's not our brand. I'm like, huh, all right. He said, and then he gave me the warranty information and said, you're covered on your warranty. All right. So I took it to the dealership that was right next door to them, which the brand of car that it was. And I'm like, okay, this car has got to be in good hands if it's being taken care of by the dealership who actually has those cars. Well, I get there, and of course there's a hiccup in the whole situation, and he's telling me it's going to be $1,000 to fix the car. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Because they just told me not more than a month or two or whatever ago that if anything were to happen, it would be covered under the car warranty. So I had to call back to the original dealership and I had to ask them, hey, you guys said that it would be covered. First of all, I let them know all of the hiccup ahead of time. I said, now, When I purchased the car, there were recalls on the car that weren't taken care of, and you guys had already had the car, what, 3 or 4 months? So those recalls should have been taken care of. But at me, who I am, I'm just like, it's not a big deal. I'll just go take it in and go get the recalls done if they haven't been done. They told me they should have been done, and I'm like, well, they're showing up here on the Carfax. Oh, they should have been done. Maybe it just didn't clear off the Carfax yet. All right. Didn't clear off the Carfax yet. So, of course, I go and take it in at that point and realize, then they told me, oh no, it never got fixed. And there's actually an additional recall that had happened. So that was 3 recalls that never got fixed. I had bought the car. Granted, I'm taking responsibility for my choice to buy the car, and I'm like, okay, well, it is what it is. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, they said they're going to take care of the car if there should be anything going on with it. Second point to that whole situation is the registration tags weren't even updated on the car, and they had expired the same month that I had bought in the car. And so I'm like, okay, not a big deal. 4 months later, I still don't have the tags to the car. He did forewarn me that it's going to take a little, it's going to take some time. And I'm like, okay, not a big deal. I've got the paperwork if there's an issue. Not a problem. So when this thing happened with the radiator, I was just like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me right now? And the service manager saying, let me recap, he's saying that he can't do it because it's after the 30 days of having the car. I'd have to take it to the other dealership that actually handles these cars. When I go online to look at the warranty of the car, it says right there, take it to the dealer that you purchased it from. And if that dealership is not available to you, then you'll take it to the next closest one or dealership in the same radius of or whatnot. So I'm working with our service person at the dealership of the make of the car, and he is telling me again that it's not going to be covered. It's going to be $1,000, that he reached out to the warranty and it's not covered. So I call back to the original place where I purchased the car. I gave him the 411 on all the things that have happened up until this point, and he wants to take my time to research the recall situation versus taking care of the radiator that we're having the issue with. So that was frustrating. But I just sat through it, let him do his due diligence. Because again, I'm taking responsibility for my choice to even buy the car and interact with this dealership from the very beginning. And that usually makes things easier to deal with when we just take responsibility for our choice and just say, well, this is what I signed up for. So instead of saying, hey, let me go on over there, mind you, they're neighbors, they're next door, let me just go on over there and see what's going on. He's like, oh, well, if it's a hose or something, then it's not going to be covered. I'm like, but your dealership told me that if there was anything that happened with my car, that it would be taken care of. He's like, well, no, if it's under the warranty, then no, that's not the case. If it's a hose or something like that. He kept saying if it's the hose, it's the hose. If it's the hose or something like that, then it's not going to be covered and you're going to have to be responsible to make that payment. And I'm like, well, that doesn't seem right. I was like, don't you back up your merchandise? And I'm going to put it out there. I bought my car at Nissan in Irvine. And I'm doing a little smile or a smirk there because I let him know, if you're not going to take care of this situation and make it right, I'm going to share that information on my Facebook. I have a YouTube channel, and I'm going to share that information with them. Because I don't understand how Nissan doesn't stand behind on their customer service. And he wanted to make sure that I understood that it wasn't the corporation of Nissan that was doing that. It was that branch specifically there in Irvine. And that's why I'm making the mention. Because with him telling me that, he wants to take responsibility for not being there in this situation and taking care of it if it was just a hose. This whole time I was thinking I wasn't going to give away that information, but I just did. Because I said I would. And the thing that makes it so crazy is this man told me I was being passive aggressive because I told him I have a Facebook account and a YouTube channel, that if it's not made right, then I'm going to share the information. And he called that passive aggressive. And if I understand correctly, passive aggressive is when you're doing something on the sideline of something to make it seem like something that isn't actually what you're doing. So I was very clear and direct with what was going to happen if he did not provide the customer service and back up and honor what they had said. So I do have to say, my mind, whoop, I wanted to give props to the other dealership that was there for me, but then I would be giving away too much information. But I can say that this person, his last name is Nichols, and he was wonderful. He researched online to find coverage information because it wasn't all that clear on the warranty that was brought over. And I do have to give Nissan props on that, because he did walk over the contract, even though it wasn't really his job or he didn't have to do that. But I still think that that was kind that he did that. And he tried to throw that in my face, saying that I wasn't being appreciative of him walking the contract over to his neighbor next door, because he doesn't ever do that. And I was thinking in my mind at the time, it's like, I am appreciative that you did that, but that has nothing to do with you standing up behind your salesman's promises to me. One has nothing to do with the other. I can be appreciative for you going out of your way and walking something over, and I can still be frustrated that you're not providing the customer service that you did when I was making the purchase of the car. So my question is, do dealerships not understand that if there's a problem with the purchase or the car, it's gonna come back to them? I mean, I literally had an attorney I was waiting on a callback from the attorney's office to take care of the car situation that I just was up in arms about. And I shouldn't say up in arms, because literally I was just like, you know what? It is what it is. But the question is, why make promises that you can't keep? I don't understand. Anyway, it was just a question.